One less ride, one less ride. We're all in this for one less ride. One less ride, one less ride. Let's give it a try one more time. Fresh start, servers are coming again. Let's give it one last ride. Try and never bother me anyway. Archeage. I have such fun memories of this game. Nothing like coming back from college, or not going to college classes at all, to play all afternoon past midnight and see that beautiful sunrise. Archeage was basically my first love, at least for MMORPGs. Nothing else has hit the spot, like, at all. It's a sad thing to see it go, but honestly, the game was already in life support, and it was a mercy by Kakao Games to kill it. At its prime, it was the most beautiful thing, and its sandbox aspects, in its time at least. There were no loading screens in the open world. You could literally go from one end of the world to the other via either an airship, sailing, or just simply walking, and not one single loading screen would be present. Everyone says the best Archeage days were actually the alpha days, which in reality wasn't a real alpha, but just a finished product, just demoing, like a test server. For me, it all started in beta. I had just recently been disappointed with the Elder Scrolls Online launch when I saw a wild ad about the Archeage beta. That, coupled with watching Bikeman on Twitch constantly streaming the Archeage alpha and having lots of fun, just made me want to play the game even more.
Oppan Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. Oppan Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. Oppan Gangnam Style. Hey, sexy lady. Oppan Gangnam Style. Hey, sexy lady.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the beginning of Archeage. At least the true start of it, the head start. My server of choice was Nightbound. Why do you ask? Well, I had done research and it seemed to be the most average out of all the servers. All the tryhards were for some reason picking Kyrios, along with several of the big streamers. Oranthul, for those who remember, were gonna mow down anyone in the server of Taiyang along with their exorbitant numbers. Which, to be fair, we're numbering somewhere in the thousands, somewhere around 2,000 or 3,000 people. Might have been more. Did I mention at the start guilds had absolutely no member caps? Well, now you know it, and that's why Oranthul was so much of a threat. The Olo server turned out to be a mateys paradise, aka Pirate Heaven. I honestly don't recall much of Oranthul. It might have just been as average as Naima, to be honest. So there I was, well, not ignorant, a rookie Nuyen dagger spell under the name of Jalal or Jalal. I really don't remember how Fairy Tail pronounced it. Yes, I was into Fairy Tail at that time. Don't be haters, come on man. I had no guild for a while, but then eventually I decided to join up with Latnus, or Latinus. It was a Spanish-speaking guild, and in my opinion, it was probably the greatest of all time in both Archeage and any MMORPG within the Spanish community. And by Spanish I mean Latin American, Spanish, anyone that speaks Spanish at all. The amount of power this guild commanded with its numbers has not been replicated by any Latin American or Spanish speaking guild to my knowledge. Feel free to correct me in the comments though. I haven't played every game, so there might be another guild equally as imposing as this one. Our allies were Iron Fist and I forgot about Windy Nation. But yeah, Windy Nation too. However, no guild can be complete without their sworn enemy. And in our case, or the case for Latinus, was the Were Poets from the Furry Nation, aka Harania or the East. Although the East have many good guilds, kinda like Son of Onslaught or DBS, and a couple more, Were Poets was always at the vanguard of the Eastern guilds. Therefore, they were a worthy adversary. At the time, I didn't know how hard you could actually pay to win. But eventually, reality would slap the shit out of me, especially in arenas. God damn, there wasn't even balance at all. Way back in the 1.0 times, before the times of Hiram and Obsidian Gear, there was truly no way to match up to the Wallet Warriors, other than being a Wallet Warrior yourself. But surprisingly, that wasn't even the worst part about the head start and the 1.0 launch. There was the ultimate boss of Archeage that was present in every single server throughout time, except probably the last, well, no, I think it was at one point still present during the first starts. But making its entry is the dreaded Q. Let me tell you, Archeage's Q is no joke. It literally made a man out of you. You were able to withstand that horrendous 11,000 and plus man Q that would actually just disconnect you in the middle of it. Yeah, cause fuck you. Then you can actually withstand any Q. Trust me. On a more positive note, once you got through the Q and you could play 1.0, it was a beauty of a patch. Now, I always dabbled a little bit in the trade packs, but my main profession, my one and only calling throughout all the servers was always and will forever be fishing. Ex-pesca, everyone. Archeage fishing wasn't your typical fishing. It was a very high risk, high reward system. Sure, you could do freshwater, but where's the fun in that? Now close your eyes for this part and picture this. You are fishing with your raid in the middle of the ocean when suddenly a thick fog suddenly rose up on everyone. Just like a zebra, your senses go into overdrive. You can sense it. You are not alone. Suddenly, you hear the sound of an invisibility spell going off. It's too late. You fucked up, and you're not on your ship's helm. Suddenly, a galleon full of pirates crashes right into the middle of the circle, composed by the fishing boats of your raid. It's flee or fight time. What will you do? Scenes like this were commonplace and happened on an hourly basis in every server when you were out and about fishing. It was always a cat and mouse game, no matter what. If they didn't get you at the sea, they would certainly wait for you on the way to turn in your catch. Hell, they would even try to get the guards to kill you. There was no shortage of pirating methods. Trade running with big guilds had a similar experience, especially when going on a sea voyage for the special resources or Guilda Stars. Oh yeah, the good old days of Guilda Stars not being entirely linked to dailies. Running merchant ships to Fridge Island, for the most part, always involved fights. There were spies from other guilds and factions 24/7 at that island, especially because there were player-built houses at the start, in which, of course, anyone could build one of those chimneys that allows for anyone to port there, making it easily accessible for anyone by just being a portal away. There were so many sea battles at Friedrich, it was insane. You would see battles of upwards of 10 versus 10 galleons with full crews, plus some clippers, plus a bunch of people in the water just firing off arrows and magic and trying to jump on the unsuspecting bystanders. It was a majestic experience. No other game has matched up to the naval combat of Archeage like this. BDO certainly tried, but it still kind of fell short in my opinion. 2 months after the launch of the game, somewhere around November the 3rd, and the original content of all the people in Archeage, Aurora, was released. In order to prepare for it, our guild made us all grind out these faded tokens that were necessary to obtain the Hasla weapon. Let me tell you, I don't know if I could ever do this kind of grinding again. It was such a pain. You would essentially group up in parties of 15 plus people, just going around killing all the mobs around the area of the abandoned drill camp in Hasla. You would have an order in which you would roll for your weapon type token and then have to wait all over again till it was your turn again. And don't get me started on the mofos that would say, oopsies, I forgot it was your turn, sorry, I rolled for it and won. Yeah, that went on for hours and hours on end, and then a couple days, because you needed 150 tokens. If you had dual weapons, well, you were fucked, bro. You needed 200 tokens, 100 per each. Not only that, but every time it would turn from peace to danger level 1 to war, it was a fucking bloodbath, man. Good luck farming in that, trying to compete against 500 people jumping on your ass. Moving on, the Aurora expansion will release 4 territories which would host castles for those who would be strong enough to take them. I remember that day vividly. The queues had somewhat stabilized at first, but then went haywire. Everyone and their mom was back and they wanted to check out the Aurora expansion. The top guilds of Nuya had set on who was going to have castle and who was going to run defense. However, the tables really turned on Nuya that day. Whether it was by design or just a chance, a large chunk of the Nuyan forces were left out on the queue, leaving the Haranian forces or the furries to play on a more or less equal or advantageous ground. You see, the West had the numbers and a couple gear players, but the furries had countless pay-to-win motherfuckers. I mean, they can afford the furry suits, meaning they can easily dish out $500 a week, no joke. Markala and Comlands were immediately taken, one by Iron Fist and the other by Son of Onslaught. Latinus was, of course, running mercenary duty for Iron Fist and then pivoted to help another guild from Nuya. For some context, in order to craft these packages to claim castles, you needed people who had at least 50,000 proficiency in mining, and you needed to mine these crystals from an area in Exaloc, which was obviously guarded by the furries, so it was not a good time. This is why there was need for the castle claiming guilds to have mercenary guilds running defense for them. Our longtime rival, the warrior poets, managed to claim Noimari, and with it, the full might of the East was ready to be unleashed upon Hitmar. The Western Guild for which we were running defense for actually lost the damn trade pack in a battle just off the coast of Hitmar. Luckily, Latinus managed to recover the package, just as all of our defenses were being overrun at all the checkpoints in Hitmar. Through our PowerPoint presentation, due to the amount of players in Hitmar, obviously the servers couldn't handle it, and they weren't even prepped to handle it. Our leader, Arundel, managed to successfully channel the lodestone with the package and boom, we had a castle. After a couple of months, I actually got bored and I stopped playing since there was a massive content drought. The regrade system was brutal. The gear crafting was also brutal. And a stupidly expensive gold sink. The sea battles were the only thing keeping me there, but that also eventually got boring, especially because more and more pay-to-win players were starting to pirate. So it was always more of a stump, rather if you stood your ground and fought, you were gonna get fucked. Oh yeah, did I forget about the land hacks? It was a pain in the ass to even get land. There were so many hackers using the land grabbing program that it was not funny at all. You couldn't even demo a property because, well, once you hit it and demo it, oh, another one's property suddenly there. Yeah, these land hackers weren't even visible. The incompetence on part of Kakao Games and Worlds just got sillier and sillier. For the 2.0 update of the game, the Fresh Start server was born. It was designed in order to bring back those who had previously quit the game. And it actually worked? Well, at least for a time, not permanently, as you will see later on. And wouldn't you guess who I found in Morpheus? Yeah, it was our longtime rivals, the Warrior Poets, this time with a different name, which I honestly forgot at this point since my stay in Morpheus was very short. To no one's surprise, the exploits, the queues, and the hackers were back. This time, they were running a radar which would tell them the location of a Perdita statue. These statues were only found in the deep ocean, so finding them by normal means was a very hard task to accomplish. When turned into a trader, they would be worth around 1,000 gold. Could you imagine having more than 1,000 gold on day one? This shit obviously wreaked havoc on the economy. It literally nuked Morpheus into the ground. That server probably didn't last more than 3 months. But hey, certainly Tryon learned from their mistakes, right? And this new Fresh Start server with the 3.0 update will be different, right? Right? The second most loved expansion of Archeage, the famous 3.0 update, which added the dwarves and the warborn alongside abyssal skills and obsidian armor. And you know Tryon was gonna try yet again with another fresh start. And it failed again. You thought they would learn from their mistakes? Especially Crolan and Celestrata? Well, I got a bridge to sell you, and you thought wrong. Though, I do gotta say, the theme for 3.0 slaps so hard, just listen to it. From there on, I don't remember exactly how many Fresh Start servers Archeage had, but I believe I played in most of them. Not all of them, because I know I skipped 1 or 2. However, each time it felt like a hollow experience. Like I was chasing the glory days of my time in Naima. I felt like a boomer. The game kept getting more and more focused on dailies, and it was killing the open world. By the last Fresh Start server, seed content outside of Abyssal Attack or fighting the Kraken was virtually dead. Yeah, Fisherman would still get raided from time to time, but it was nothing like the old times. Kakao Games kept screwing up again and again and again. And let's add one more again there. By pumping out content so slow and honestly just unengaging content. Even when we got new content, it was just more dailies and new areas to grind these dailies in. The magic was gone. They finally killed the game, and we never even got the fairy race that they promised to add. Ram gear killed crafting, however faulty that was, and the dailies were your main source of Gilda stars, which were used just to purchase either designs for boats, houses, and many more things. You were grinding battle passes left and right. Don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with that, but they just added more dailies, man. So, if you had a job, good luck going to all the events that would net you honor points to advance your gear. Am I sad to see Archeage shutting down? Of course, I'm a little bit sad. I have very fond memories of it, even in the Fresh Start servers that were trash. However, it was a completely different game from its original 1.0, and what made me fall in love with the game. My attachment to the current game was so diminished that, at first, it just didn't hit me. Every time I would go back to the dailies, along with all the events on the reset that would take hours and hours every day, just made my mind go numb, and the game would feel more like a job than a game to enjoy. Despite all that, I was still a little tear to see Archeage shutting down. This is basically my tribute to Archeage, to the good old days where we all enjoyed the game as either friends, allies, or rivals. Shout out to Latinus, Iron Fist, Son of Onslaught, DVS, of course the Warrior Poets, and everyone who played on Naima. Thank you for listening to this old man reminisce about a dead game. Let us hope that Ashes of Creation can bring me even better memories. What do you think about Archeage shutting down? Let me know in the comments. Rachel Skylar out.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began.